Alpine so far this season has definitely been by far the worst organised team on the grid. A few months ago, Renault was all over the place trying to save its faltering F1 project. As drastic action has plunged the team into short-term chaos, almost every senior leader at the F1 team seems to have been sacked, moved aside, or pushed into leaving. But after the dust settled down, senior Alpine people said the team now has good energy going forward and that things are looking good. Does any of this hold water? And could we see a resurgence of the Enston squad? During the summer months, Renault group leader Luca De Meo initiated a complete overhaul of the team, which marked a very shaky few weeks. In July, we received information that Alpine's F1 engine chief, Bruno, in the role for only 18 months, would ascend to the newly created position of Vice President of Motorsport, which positioned him above team principal, with direct reporting to CEO Lauren Rossi. However, subsequent news revealed Rossi's lateral shift into special projects, the nature of which remains unclear, while Philippe Crefft assumed the role of the new CEO. Without much delay, developments continued to unfold, and just before the Spa weekend began, it was declared that both Zafnauer and sporting director Alain Permain, a fixture at the team Enston for 34 years, would depart after the Belgian Grand Prix weekend, which essentially meant they were working out their notice at the track. The timing raised eyebrows, but as with the entire situation, oddity seems to be the norm. Reports suggested that the decisions regarding Zafnauer and Permain were made swiftly, and the prevailing explanation, albeit debatable, attributes their departure to a mutual decision. However, it appears that the two sides were not in alignment, particularly regarding the timeline and approach to achieving the desired performance level. And there seems to be a fundamental disagreement, with each side perceiving the situation differently. The recent shakeup is part of a larger pattern at Renault's work team, and since its peak in 4th place in 2018, the team's hierarchy has undergone multiple changes. Notably, key figures from 5 years ago are no longer in their roles, which include technical director Nick Chester and chief aerodynamicist Pete Mackin, who departed at the end of 2019. And despite some appointments surviving the changes, the overall narrative reflects a persistent state of flux in the management, team, and technical aspects of Renault's works team. This trend predates the Alpine rebrand, indicating a long effort to progress amid frequent shifts in leadership and strategy. Then, a bombshell went off during the middle of October, when it was announced that Alpine has a bunch of new investors, including a consortium of some quite celebrity figures, if I may say so myself. The consortium is made up of Otro Capital, Redbird Capital Partners, and Maximum Efforts Investments, the latter led by Hollywood actors Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney, who also own Wrexham AFC, plus fellow actor Michael B. Jordan, also listed as a co-investor. And they revealed a host of sports stars have now contributed to this £200 million buy-in. These include 4-time golf major champion Rory McIlroy, Olympic gold medalist boxer Anthony Joshua, as well as ex-Chelsea and Manchester United players Marta and Trent Alexander-Arnold. He is vaguely linked to Otro Capital, since its investment partner Redbird Capital Partners holds the third largest stake in the Fenway Sports Group, which owns the Premier League club Liverpool. This is kind of surprising, I think, but interesting nonetheless. It is definitely a long-term investment, so Alpine needs to get their act together and produce a better, more consistent car, because both Gasly and Ocon are capable of scoring points for the team. All of these huge changes in quick succession drastically improve the atmosphere in the team, at least according to interim sporting director Julian Roos, who said there is now good energy in the team after a long time. Roos was also part of the restructuring effort, and assumed his current position after the unexpected departures of team principal Zafnauer, sporting director Alain Permain, and chief technical officer Pat Fry's transition to Williams. The team's strategic focus has been on enhancing operational performance during race weekends, a shift that has manifested in positive outcomes in recent races. Notably, Esteban Ocon secured a 7th place finish in Qatar, and Pierre Gasly claimed 6th in the USA. Although the A523 faced challenges in terms of competitiveness compared to rivals in Mexico, Ocon managed to secure a valuable point with a 10th place finish, and Gasly, while aiming for 9th, found himself compromised by an untimely pit stop just before the red flag. "It definitely feels like there's good energy on the team," said Roos, "and I think the last couple of weekends we did a good job of maximizing things in Austin, and it feels like we've got some consistency throughout the weekends. And yeah, there's still more to come. We're still building on that and understanding what we can do to keep improving. It definitely feels like we've made some progress in terms of how we're operating on the events and how we're sort of trying to consistently optimize things. But there's still a long way to go with that, which is quite exciting." In discussing the primary areas of concentration, Julian Roos stated that the team is consistently exploring opportunities for further enhancements to the car, considering it is a continuous and inherent process, and that the team's focus extends beyond just the vehicle, aiming to raise their standards with thorough attention to detail across all aspects that contribute to progress. Roos emphasized the team's dedication to ongoing efforts and expressed enthusiasm for the challenges they face, and surprisingly enough, at least for me, he noted a positive trend in their recent approach, particularly in the past few weekends, indicating satisfaction with their strategies and methodologies. "We need to look at the bigger picture when it comes to Alpine in this situation. The repetition of the term Alpine project in press conferences and media sessions doesn't provide any clear guidance on what will be done differently to break the cycle of dysfunction and disappointment. And with the interim arrangements in place, the future is still not that certain. The potential long-term appointment of Mattia Binotto as team principal has been mentioned, but the lack of a clear decision-making structure raises concerns about the efficiency of the setup. The project, initially a 5-year plan, evolved into a 100-race plan, but the start date remains unclear. The target of finishing 4th in the championship has been adjusted to ending the year with the 4th quickest car, and the timeline continues to shift, with the project's direction appearing unclear from an outside perspective. Instead of a functional plan for a meaningful shift in how the team operates, it seems like a classic Renault mess, with a history that suggests it may lead to more tumultuous changes or a potential sale of the team once the Alpine project concludes or is abandoned. But as we mentioned at the start, there are reasons to be positive, which may turn out to be nothing but a so-called copium effect. Initially, many believed, and still do, that De Meo's actions in dismissing Schaffnauer and Permain and sidelining Rossi indicated a potential dismantling of the team. However, to everyone's surprise, since Zandvoort, Alpine has emerged as one of the most consistently improving teams, achieving progress without the necessity of frequent car updates. And this positive trend bodes well for the team's future. Operationally, they've undergone a significant transformation, and although there have been some troublesome and unlucky incidents, these are deemed normal as things gradually settle into place. But Alpine not only needs to improve their car like all the other teams, but they also need a couple of clean weekends with no reliability issues, no shunts, and a good tyre strategy. Get both cars in the points at the same race and the entire team will feel better. But sometimes they create their own bad luck, like Ocon's crash in the sprint in Qatar, for example. Looking ahead to the next year, the hope is that they can construct an exceptional car capable of competing in the top 3, a goal they still eagerly pursue. The elimination of obstructions is evident, which is no more Permain creating divisions between Verry and Enston, no more Schaffnauer delaying crucial hires and taking a careless approach to development targets, and no more Pat Fry's half-hearted approaches that only yield midfield results. There are no more excuses related to instability, as De Meo has personally fortified his support at both Enston and Verry. So the expectation now is clear. They must deliver because that is the absolute minimum anticipated. What do you think about Alpine? Can they bounce back and at some point in the next few years finish in that 4th place in contractors they so desperately want? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.